ಕಳಬೇಡ ಕೊಲಬೇಡ ಸರಿ ಗರಿ ಗಮ ಗಮ ಬಮ ಪನ್ನಿ ಪನಿ ಸ ನಿ ಸಡ್ಡಿ ಗಡ್ಡಿ ಸ ನಿ ಸ ಪನ್ನಿ ಪ ಮ ಗರಿ ಸ ಸರಿ ಗಮ ಬನಿ ಸ ಸರಿ ಗಮ ಬನಿ ಸ ಸರಿ ಗಮ ಬನಿ ಸ.
So in Carnatic music, there is an interesting name called Vagayakara. So when you talk about Tyagaraja, Dikshidhar, Shyama Sastri, you say they are these great Vagayakaras. So Vagayakaras are people who composed the lyric and the music together at the same time for most compositions. And then you had people who set existing lyrics to music, because our literary tradition has so much of poem and poetry which have been in the classical tradition set to meter. So it has always been, it has a musical cadence to the way the lyrics have been laid out. So musicians always found it exciting and interesting to take those lyrics and set them to music and sing them in concerts. This was a very long tradition. My guru was very good at setting tunes. He always said that to be a Vagayakara, you have to have more awareness of the knowledge in which you are composing. For instance, you should know Sanskrit, you should know Telugu, or you should know Tamil, whichever language you choose to compose in. The insight must be much more. And over the years, what has happened is, compared to the earlier generations of learning, say in the 19th century or earlier than that, the 20th century modern school system, college system didn't allow for us to get that wide-ranging understanding of language. So that kind of hindered a lot of musicians from developing that kind of insight. So you would find very few Vagayakaras, but more musicians who set lyrics to tune. My guru was one of those. And he would always encourage me, and he said, hey, tune mandra, abdinbar. He will say, ipdi pannalam, abdi pannalam. So early on, for the first time, I had learned this song called Thayin Mani Kudi Parid. And there was one stanza which was already tuned in another ragam, and I thought, okay, maybe I should choose another ragam to tune it. And then at that time I used to listen to a lot of GNB, and there was this ragam called Gavati. It's a Hindustani ragam which he had adapted, and he had sung as a Ragamalika. Sama pani rama pani sa sadama pagamari sa அப்படின்னு ஒரு scale. So I wanted to use that as a tune, because for me it was fascinating and it wasn't there at that time, my exposure. So சேர்ந்ததை காப்பது காணீர் அப்படின்னு அந்த லைன் மட்டும் எடுத்து I tuned it into Gavati, and I was singing it. That was my first real foray into tune. And then in 93 I had gone on my first tour to Malaysia, and there was one concert that I was supposed to sing in the Vivekananda Ashram there in Kuala Lumpur. So it was a Ramakrishna Math Vivekananda thing, and the person who organized said, sir, you have to sing for 1 hour, but please don't sing all this Alapana and Kalpanaswaram and all that. We want some devotional type songs, and if you can sing some bhajans also, it will be. I knew no bhajans, and I was kind of anti, I was a bit of a Carnatic snob in that sense. I didn't like these Hindustani rhymes and all that. But this man said, listen, if you don't do, they won't pay money, so you better tune something and sing something. So at that time I had just gotten married, and Aarti was singing some bhajan, Hey Govind, Hey Gopal. So I liked the lyrics, and I said, okay, let me tune this to Madhuvanti. The reason why I chose Madhuvanti was because I had also actually learned a little bit of Hindustani music from Pandit Krishnanand, just to get some insight. And so there was this Kelan aaye Shyam Madhuban Kelan. So I said, okay, Hey Govind, Hey Gopal, Hey Govind Rakho Saran அப்படின்னு ஒரு டியூன் பண்ணி பாடிட்டேன். Then at different times I used to tune. But during this whole process of tuning and singing, I never notated them. So what you do is you will just sing the song a few times, you will get memorized, you will keep singing them in concerts, and that was it. There was no record, there was no notation, there was no something. Then when I went to my guru, he would always give me notations and he will ask me to do it. Then much later on, I started actually sitting down to notate songs, because it was, at that time I found it much more useful. But what happened when I started notations was, I became lazy. Because you start tuning, then you write the Pallavi, and then you forget about that tune. So there are so many unfinished tunes like that sitting. If I open my notebook or something, I will see that there is this tune I started, there is one Pallavi, there is another tune that I started. So there was this ragam called Gopikal Tilakam. It's a very beautiful ragam. Sari ga ma pa ni sa sa ni pa ma ga re sa. It's a janyam of Shanmuga Priya. So my guru has tuned one beautiful Bharadiyar song, beginning with Hari 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 Kanna Abhayamuna Kabhayam. அப்படின்னு ஒரு டியூன் பண்ணிட்டு அப்போ when he taught me that song, he said, அந்த காலத்தில் வந்து ஒரு பாட்டு உண்டுடா, ஆசை கொண்டேன் வண்டே அப்படின்னு ஒரு பாடி காமிச்சார். பாட்டு சொன்னார், இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பாட்டு உண்டு, அந்த காலத்தில் பாடுவார். நான் so எனக்கு அந்த Gopika Tilakam, that ragam stuck, and I sang a Pallavi once, and then recently about 2 years back I wanted to create a tune in something, and I was getting into tuning a few pieces in Kannada language. I found this Basavanna Vachana, so Kalabeda Kolabeda அப்படினு ஒரு Vachana. So I wanted to sing, so I chose this Gopika Tilakam because I was learning up this Hari Hari Kanna, and I said, okay, there is something in Tamil, let me create something in Kannada for the same ragam. And then I started writing the notation. At the time I was using some digital iPad type Microsoft Surface, and I had started writing the notations with that stylus that it uses, and I had started composing. I wrote the Pallavi, and then as usual I forgot. And then I revisited it once, and during the flight from somewhere, Bombay to Madras or something, I actually wrote down the whole song, finished it, and then sang it to the concert. The thing is, writing down notations or random snaps of notations is always helpful for somebody like me, because I come from a reading tradition. There are people today who listen to books on their headphones, they listen to audible books or audio books. I still come from the old, in fact even more than the Kindle, I actually read physical books. Similarly, I follow a writing method, I write with a fountain pen, or I fill ink and write and things. So for me, always the process of notating was so easily adaptable as for me. So as and when I think of some musical phrase or some idea, I like to write it down in a scrap of paper or digitally or something. So then for me to revisit it is always helpful, because the process of notating, the process of keeping notations is so helpful from so many different perspectives, one of which is even composing, writing. So there is this story about Ilayaraja. He would walk into a recording studio, and he will just distribute notations to every instrumentalist, and they will look at the notations, and when they play it all together, it will come together as a single song. The point is, when Ilayaraja actually wrote it down, he didn't even sing and see or play the instrument or anything. He had the music in his mind, and he was able to transcribe it directly onto paper, onto notation, so onto script. It's like people writing a book or people writing an article. You have these ideas and you write it. So the notation is a direct manifestation of the music that is in the mind, and it gives a comprehensive picture when you view the notation together in its form.
ಕಳಬೇಡ ಕೊಲಬೇಡ ಕಳಬೇಡ ಕೊಲಬೇಡ ಹುಸಿಯ ನುಡಿಗಲು ಬೇಡ 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 ಕಳ್ಳಬೇಡ ಕೊಲಬೇಡ ಹುಸಿಯ ನುಡಿಗಲು ಬೇಡ ಕಳಬೇಡ